Hey guys, welcome back to Stock My Closet. For today's project, I have taken 3 meter cotton fabric. This fabric is for skirt top set. In today's video, I'm sharing skirt cutting and stitching. So firstly, I'll fold the fabric by half in width and I'll trim the uneven fabric on the top. Now I'll cut out the skirt length, which will be full length minus ruffle length plus seam allowance. In my measurement, skirt length is 28 inches and ruffle length is 8 inches. So 28 minus 8 is 20 and I'll be adding 1 inch for seam allowance. So 20 plus 1 is 21. So I'll mark and cut at 21 inches. I have cut out one length for front. Now I'll cut one more length for back. So here I have two lengths, one for front and one for back. This is on fold and now I'll mark the measurements. For waist, take hip round measurement, add ease and divide it by 4. In my measurement, hip round is 42 inches and I'm adding 4 inches of ease. So 42 plus 4 is 46 and dividing it by 4, I'll get 11.5 inches. Now from the waist, mark 7.5 inch downwards. Here I'll mark hip measurement and for that add ease to your hip round measurement and divide it by 4. In my measurement, hip round is 42 inches and I'm adding 8 inches of ease. So 42 plus 8 is 50 inches and dividing it by 4, I'll get 12.5 inches. Now join waist to hip and extend it to the bottom to get A-line shape. Adding 1 inch of seam allowance. Now from the bottom, mark 1.5 inch upwards. Join it to the bottom with the curved ruler like this and cut it out. Now I'll cut the ruffle. I have taken on fold fabric. Ruffle length is 8 inches. I'm adding 1.5 inches for seam allowance. So I'll mark a point at 9.5 inches. Extend this point and cut it out. Now I'll cut one more ruffle. It's your choice how much gathers you want in your ruffle. Now I'll cut the belt and for that I have taken leftover fabric from the skirt. I have taken belt width 3.5 inches as I'll be using 1 inch wide elastic and I have taken extra length which I'll trim later on. So with this cutting is complete, now I'll stitch the skirt. Place the skirt pieces with the right sides together and stitch the side seam, leaving 3 to 4 inch of opening at the bottom on one side. So I have made the side stitch and trimmed the seam allowance. Now open the seam like this and overlock both sides. Now I'll prepare the ruffle by joining both pieces, adding gathers on the top and finishing the bottom. Firstly, join the pieces with right sides together and stitch. I've made the stitch, so now I'll open the seam and iron it. To finish the bottom, fold the seam allowance twice like this and stitch along the edge to secure it. And this is how it will look. Now I'll make a basting stitch on the top to add gathers. So I've made a basting stitch. Now I'll pull the back thread to add and adjust gathers to match the skirt bottom. So I have prepared the ruffle. Now I'll attach it with the skirt. I'll start from the opening I left earlier. Place the ruffle on the skirt right sides together and make a stitch. You can also pin up the ruffle to keep it in place. and stitch them together. I have attached the ruffle. Now I'll remove the basting stitch thread and this is how it will look. Overlock the seam allowance. Now I finished the side seam. So I've attached ruffle with the skirt. Now I'll cut the lining. I've cut out two lengths. This is on fold fabric. And now I'll mark the measurements the same way as I did on the skirt. Waist is 11.5 inches. Mark 7.5 inches downwards and hip measurement is 12.5 inches. Join waist to hip and extend it to the bottom. Mark 1.5 inches upwards from the bottom and join it with the curve ruler. I've added 0.75 inch of seam allowance and I'll cut it out. Now I stitch the side seams and finish the bottom. Now I'll attach the lining with the skirt, and for that turn the lining inside out and now insert it into the skirt like this. Match the side seams and make a stitch on the waist to hold them together. Now I'll prepare and attach the belt. I've joined all pieces of belt and I've kept seams open. Now place the lining on the belt, wrong sides together, and stitch all four sides to keep them together. Now I have attached the right side of the belt to the wrong side of the skirt waist and pinned it up. I'll stitch all around the waist. I have folded and ironed the belt. Now I'll make a stitch all around the waist, leaving 1 inch of space to insert the elastic. So I made the stitch and I've inserted the elastic. Now overlap the edges and make few stitches to secure the elastic. I'll quickly close the opening left to insert the elastic. And lastly, I'll make a stitch on the center of the belt to keep the elastic in place. And that's it. Our A-line ruffle skirt is ready. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more sewing projects. Thanks for watching.